Hi everybody, my name is Laser Lloyd and I am a singer-songwriter, guitar player. I write Americana, rock and roll, country music, perform around the world. And I've lived in Israel for the last 24 years as my home base, raising my family as I tour around the world. And I want to speak to you about a pressing issue about the Syrian conflict, which is the main issue of our generation due to the fact that more than 500,000 lives have been lost and millions of people have been refugees scattered around Europe and the world. So I want to use this as just for people who are getting involved with anti-Israel or the BDS movement. They're being tricked into an ISIS philosophy of black and white, and we all know what that led to. We do not want that to happen, and many intelligent people with good intentions are getting led down the wrong path. So I just want to explain to you that I get to meet a lot of people, and I got a lot of fans, and sometimes fans are in big places. And I was a support for President Obama in many things he did in America. Not all the things, but I think he was a good example for young people, and he did help revive the American economy that came through some rough times, and other good things he did. But it was a disaster in foreign policy, specifically in the Middle East, and specifically in Syria, where under his presidency, more than 500,000 people were killed. And I was speaking out about this, asking the American administration to take a stance and to act. And someone contacted me that had contacts and was involved in the foreign policy team dealing specifically with the Syrian issue. And I just want you to open up your hearts and your ears and your mind. And this is what they told me. They told me, Laser, you can't believe how confusing it is and complicated it is. Every time we went to a different group, whether it was this rebel group or it was this different religious group, every time we tried to make an agreement with them, okay, this is going to be the deal, we're going to end the violence, we're going to speak to them, this is what's going to happen, the change in Syria. He said, we realize this faction doesn't speak to this faction, and then we realize this faction really does commit terror while at the same time they're against Assad. And when we go to speak to Damascus and we meet the people who are for Assad, it's not so simple because those people are against Islamic terror. And then we have this other group where they're against ISIS, but at the same time they're against ISIS, they're also against this other rebel group. And he says, every time we tried to put the puzzle together, it was just no way to do it. We couldn't get these people to work together to come up with any sort of team. Now, I want you to know that that is exactly the situation that Israel has been dealing with for the last 100 years. We had, from the beginning, when the Jewish people were returning to their homeland, there were imams that understood this is the Jewish homeland, and then there are imams that were calling for the killing of Jews, women and children, no matter what. And that was the cause of the Hebron massacre in 1929. And that was the reason when the Palestinian people could have gotten their own homeland in 1947, when the UN decided that the Jews and the Palestinians would have home. That's why the religious leader, the majority of the people were so happy of the Palestinians, yet the religious leaders told them, no, we're not going to agree to that. What we're going to do, and the surrounding countries who have always complicated the situation, that's why it's so complicated, all the fanatic Islamic countries in the area told the Palestinians who had been prospering here under the Jews who had rebuilt the country, which was it was basically rocks and dust with nothing going on. And they told them, you leave here, go away for a few days, all the invading army is going to come, wipe out the Jews, and then you'll have all of Israel. And so that really, and when through God's graces and through the sacrifices of many, many thousands of Jewish lives who risked their lives to fight for the declaration and the independence of Israel. So they lost, and the countries that told them to get out of Israel did not want to accept them as citizens, and that's where the refugee camps came from. And even though Israel decided to absorb many of them, there was still, you can't, when you're going to make a country, you can't just automatically just start a new country with such a small population and say, oh, well, I'll take in half of them of the people who just tried to kill me. And so since then, Israel has tried to make peace with these people, but as I just explained to you, that the Obama administration